Ladies and gentlemen, yo, Lingo, thank you for that clap. How do you guys time those fucking claps so well? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome to season 2, episode 4 of the podcast. How's it going, you guys? Look at all these fucking lovely people in the chat. Look at all these gangsters. Cheesy McDabble is going on. Kraggers, Belfagor. Who's spraying water? Who's spraying? Taekwondo Grandmaster spraying some water, cooling things off right off the bat. Oh my God, look at that. Ryan Strain Music over here, supporting all the way from, what'd you say? Where'd you say? Always supporting my dude Jake. Hey, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Woo!
Woo! Who did that one? Look at all these Roxanne's in the house. Carl von Mansfeld's in the house. Bone Driven Mind says, found your channel thanks to Bees and Mosh Talks this past Saturday. Been enjoying your daily streams since. Listen to your podcast too with Bees. Love you both guys. Passion for music. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you for coming by. Gorillas in the Mist is in the house as well. So many. I was just telling Jake, there's so many gorillas in the chat. How many gorillas are in the chat? Sandy Sin is here. Julian Gorilla obviously is in the house. 4 Derpy Paws are community manager and mod beast. Look at all these fucking people. Adnan Roche is in the house. Lengo 213. Tristan, what's up? Roxanne, how's everybody doing? Listen, you guys are all over. Moby, go Jake. What's up, Moby? Scrappy 83 is in the house. You guys, we have an amazing podcast for you guys today. We've got Jake E, and we're gonna be diving into the entire journey and a whole bunch of stuff. So don't go anywhere. Stick around. I just want to make sure that you guys remember that if you have any questions in the channel redeems, there's an ask question redeem. So we don't lose track of who asked what questions. Use that thing. Anything you put in there within reason will be asked and will be added to the list right away. So make sure you check all the stuff out. And Cheesy McDab with the Slayer. All right. Enough of me talking. We're going to jump into the podcast. We're going to get into the serious mode, you guys. Stop fucking around. Stop messing around, okay? All right, let's hit the intro. Welcome to the show. Jake, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. And there was a lot of guys there that I know, and nice to see Ryan there. I love that dude. Hope you're doing well over there on the other side of the big pond. And thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, dude. First of all, thank you, Lingo, for the party lights. You and I have had a chance to talk before. I always like to start with the guest saying that, like, how we met and that I gave you a little botched intro before the intro. You and I have had a chance to talk before, a little bit of a technical thing where we talked a little bit about OBS and stuff. But in your own words, before we dive into the podcast, could you introduce yourself to the tribe that might not know you?
Yeah, so first of all, I listened to your band today, and I forgot to tell you before when we were talking about OBS. It's fucking great. So I don't know these technical things, how to send like rainwater and piss water or whatever you can send in your chat, but it's fantastic. But for those of you, there they go, yeah. On flames as well. That's fucking amazing. For those of you who doesn't know me, I am a musician, singer, songwriter, actor, and used to be pyrotechnician from Sweden. And I started off in a band called Dreamland. I've been doing tons of different bands in between. Then I started a band called Amaranth, and then I moved on with Cyhra, which I'm currently in. And that's me.
The
fact short introduction. The long introduction will be 2 hours.
That's actually what I was going to jump into, because trying to narrow down, because I had to basically for like the Instagram posts and for promoting this podcast, I had to try to find a way to summarize everything you've done into a caption format. And I was like, I think the 2-hour podcast format is the only way we could actually introduce you to a bunch of the people from the Middle East and everyone that listens to the podcast, because putting it down in bullet points, it's kind of a lot. You do a lot of different things.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of different things throughout my career, mostly fun stuff. And most of the things I have to be reminded of by like my wife or friends or whatever, because I tend to forget so many things that I've been doing throughout the years. Yeah, I live in now, and that's what I do. So for me, everything right now is like writing music to others, starting up an acting career, and do Cyhra. That's everything right now.
Yeah, that and I think usually with the podcast, I love to go back in time and kind of figure out the whole journey and get to know you a little better. So I think it's only fitting to go back to like just before the creative process started. I remember reading that your path was actually you were looking forward to being a hockey player before any of this stuff popped off. Let's go back to that. What age was that, and where was Jake the hockey player at?
My dad was the one that got me into hockey, and he never played hockey himself. He was a soccer player or a football player, but he brought me to the ice rink when I was 5, maybe 5, 4.5, 5, something like that, and I just loved it. And then all my childhood I was playing hockey. I was at the rink like 2-3 times a day, and playing as much as I could. And fortunately, when I was like 19, 20, something like that, I injured myself. I crushed my hip. I got an infection that ate, I think 2/3 of my, what's the bone called? Here on the side.
I'm the least athletic person.
Pelvis? I don't know. I think
the pelvis, is that the pelvis,
yeah.
You guys?
Whatever, the thing that your legs are attached to.
Yeah,
you know?
Bone Driven Mind says pelvis in the chat. Yes, all right. He has bone in the username, so I'll trust Bone Driven Mind.
We should trust someone called Bone. Yeah, he should. Yeah, do you know things about boners too? No. Huh?
Boner, yeah, we tend to talk a lot about boners on the channel.
No, but so when my hockey career ended, when I realized that I could not be a professional hockey player anymore, I sat down and talked to myself a little bit, and I was okay. So what am I gonna do now? I never want to have like a real job. Obviously, I ended up having real jobs as well. Not that musician is not a real job, but you get my point. I always wanted to like have something in my life that was funny, and while I could earn money on it at the same time. So I was thinking like, so what's the next step? So the next step was obviously rock star. That sounds great. I should probably do that. So that is why I'm on the Unmuted show today.
Hell yeah. But listen, this is why I love having these conversations, because for someone that young and with the way like socially accepted jobs and all that stuff happen, what was the thing that was like entrepreneurial spirit? Where did that come from? Why from a young age, even after the hockey injury, were you like, I want to be my own boss, dude?
I was never really at that point. I really sucked at stuff like that. Julian is in the chat. He knows all about that too. But I'm probably a little bit better now. I never really thought about like being an entrepreneur in any way. There was something that just came with the job, so to say. Being a musician, you realized I can backtrack a little bit to what I'm just telling you here. So when I got my first record deal with my first band called Dreamland, we're still active, by the way, and at some point we're going to release a new album. It's been 10 years since the last one, so we should do one more. But I knew nothing about the business at all. So we recorded the album, we sent that to the label, and I thought that, okay, now everything is done. Month went by, and I sent an email or I called the label in Germany and I said, we don't have any shows. Where's the shows? We should go on a world tour now, right? And her response was, well, do you have a booker? Mm-hmm. And I was just, what's that? I had no idea. I thought I were living in the, my own world, thinking that the label were just, like, now I signed a record deal, they will handle everything for me. But I learned it the hard way that was not how the music business works. So there was some stepping stones and a steep learning curve.
I remember this is why it's a very interesting conversation with you, because even the drive, I remember reading and hearing some things where you were saying, even from a young age, even from the first band Dreamland, I want to be as big as Iron Maiden. Like the drive was already there. The kind of that freight train approach was from the very beginning, right? Like was it the same as the drive for the hockey that you just transposed into the music world?
Yeah, in some way, yeah. Because what I've been saying, and this was actually a joke that I started when we were in Amaranth, and it came from the fact that there were so many interviewers that asked us the same questions all over and over and over again. We're like, so you release your third album now. Tell me, how did the band start? And and that takes you onto the path where you're not taking the interview seriously anymore, and you start just goofing around. And then I said that we want to be bigger. We want to have Iron Maiden as an opening act. That's our goal. That's what I said. And what I meant with that, what obviously not that I believe that would ever be possible. What I meant is that you need to aim high to land somewhere in between of where you are now and the top, so to say. And because if you only aim halfway, you're only going to be able to go halfway of that. So it's better to just like reach for the stars and land on the moon.
Yeah. And I think, having said that, I think that a lot, like you were saying, for this podcast in preparation, I had to listen to a lot of interviews that you've done in the past, a whole bunch of reading a couple of the articles and stuff. And you've been around long enough, but I feel like a lot of people have genuinely asked you basically the same couple of questions. There were some great interviews, but I feel like a lot of them kind of go through the motions. Maybe a little later we can dig deep into like just how that mental exhaustion side of being a musician for this long. But what are some just while we're on the topic, what are some of the craziest questions you've been asked, or maybe the silliest questions you've been asked being on the road?
As I said before, I suck at remembering things, but what annoys me when you're being interviewed and someone is actually taking their time to interview you or your band or your band members or whatever, is when someone is on the line and they ask a question, whatever, what's your favorite bread? And you answer, yeah, it's this bread with, that butter or that cheese or whatever, and I like to do it this and that way. And the response is, okay, next question. When they don't have a follow-up question on what you're saying, that is really annoying, because then there's not a discussion. You could just have sent me an email, please, like, answer these questions as short as you can. But I don't know. I can't remember any stupid questions like that. I mean, like, journalists are doing their job, and I'm not here to bash journalists, because I probably have given more bad answers than I've gotten bad questions.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm always curious in that, because I kind of dove into this world by accident. It was the pandemic, and I was like, you know what, I have a lot of cool creative friends, maybe I should just jump on a stream and ask them some questions and stuff. And I've always approached it from a conversation perspective, And in research, getting ready for podcasts, getting ready for the show, and writing up some cool questions that I think of, I realized that listening to, especially someone that's had a span of a career for a while, once you consolidate all the questions and just listen to them over and over, you're like, damn, that's exhausting. Just being on tour, just getting asked the same 3 questions all the time. It must have been a little challenging at times.
Sports and music has something in common, and that is the question: how does it feel?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. What do you want me to? What do you want me to say? I don't know how it feels. Like. Do you want the truth? Would you want the truth, or shall I lie about something? I had the worst gig of my life, but I can't tell you that because then all the magazines are gonna write about that. So It's great is always the correct answer.
Yeah, it doesn't end up Jake X hates X City because it was a match or whatever.
No, exactly. And I have no referee that I could blame. The game sucked because the referee sucked. I have nothing. I cannot bash my manager even, it was the manager's fault that I sang off pitch. There's no one to blame. It's only me, right?
But before the grueling, the tour schedules and the interviews and all this stuff, I always like to ask the question, what was your very, very first band? Was it Dreamland? Was that the first band you were in, or what was the practice bands before that?
Yeah, but going back to the first question you asked me before, how I came into music, and this is a question I've been asked a lot as well, but I enjoy answering it with you because you're great. But it was actually a friend of mine that said that, hey, dude, do you know any singers? Because we need a singer for our metal band. And I lied him straight into his face, and I told him that I'm a great singer. I've been singing for ages. I know all about it, and I've been listening to metal, obviously, and probably sang in the choir to, skip some lessons, back and forth throughout my school years. But we went into the rehearsal room, and I was singing, and luckily for me, they were as bad as I was. So they were just taking me in, and yeah, you're great. Let's do this, and I was so bad. I had no idea how to do that, but that was how we started. And that band was called, first it was called Unchained, then we changed the name to Infinity, but it has it follows through because that band that was Infinity then turned into Dreamland, even though it was a lot of different members, but there was some of the members were with me from the start, and then they dropped off, and then you came in. But yeah, so in one way or the other, Dreamland was my first band, but we were in different constellations and different members and different names. But
yeah. See, that's a much cooler first band name than the shit I've had.
What was your first? What was your first name?
It was Red Rum, because it was.
That is a great name.
Murder backwards.
I know. I saw 7.
It was so bad. And we couldn't play our instruments. We printed we didn't print. We painted on t-shirts. Before we had a song, we had the logo.
But I did the same thing. I through my from I was 7 years old till I ended the gymnasium, I would think it's comparable to like high school or something in the States. I was practicing my signature.
The autograph was ready to go.
I would say that my autograph now is perfected. There's nothing to change with it. It's one of the nicest autographs out there. Now I sound like Donald Trump, but I don't think there's any autograph that's better than mine. But yeah, that was what I was doing. So I did the same as you. And I think that I even printed t-shirts with our Infinity before we even had a demo. And back then, 25 years back, you had to rent a studio, and it was really expensive to go into the studio to record your crappy songs. But I found the demos on DUT tapes, So I have an idea of like remaster those old recordings and put them up someday, but
that would be an amazing idea, to be honest.
Dare to listen to them.
It's one of those things. It's like visualizing, like having the t-shirts. I know friends of mine that have done the tour poster before their first show, just to kind of visualize it. They had whoever, the Slayer headlining, and they were opening for it, and it's just a way to kind of visualize where you want to be, like that drive. That's why I was saying I found the connection with that, the way you spoke about, like, I'm just gonna go for it 110%. And
what are you? Sorry for interrupting you, but
No,
before I forget, what I used to do when I was like 22, I back then, Photoshop and stuff like that was not that hard as it is nowadays, and you could not print whatever you wanted. And usually back in the days when the posters for festivals came out, they never used the logos of the band. They just wrote the names of the bands, right?
Yeah.
And it was usually some font that everyone had. So what I usually did on the festivals that we were on, I took it, I removed one of the bigger bands, put our band name higher on the billing, and put the bigger band down below, and then I posted that on social channels and MySpace and whatever. So our band always looked really big, but it was probably if someone knew that back then, it was if the internet would have looked like it is today, I would look really bad and stupid. But I was just doing that to like push it out as much as I humanly could.
I've done that as late as just the band before I've started Svengali. Like we still did all that stuff, and it just reminded me right now. We were in Svengali was playing in Turkey. And it was the first time someone actually, like a group of people came out, and we were signing some CDs, and our guitarist, our session guitarist at the time, was signing the CDs with us, and I glanced over at his complicated signature, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you writing?" He's like, "I'm signing the CDs." I was like, "Not your bank signature, dude." He was giving them his real, genuine bank signature on all these CDs in Turkey. And he's like, "I don't know. I panicked. I didn't have another one." So
that's great. I think that I probably done that myself. I see here in the chat that Ryan Stain, when he was young, he wanted to become a dinosaur or something like that. That is also weird. I had a friend of mine in school. When he was asked what he was going to do when he grew up, he said that he was going to be a fire truck. So that's,
dude, my kid says that now. My kid wants to be not a fireman, a fire truck. He wants to be a fire truck. He's obsessed with that stuff. When did it go from the fake it till you make it, the bigger logo on the poster, practicing the autograph, to like it clicked for you, like, shit, I might be actually doing this right? When did that transition happen?
I was living on clouds really, really early, I must say. And with that, I mean that when I was 20, I already believed that I was a rock star, and I behaved pretty badly, and I had like a weird bad attitude, and thought that I was someone that I was not. And then I started to like, okay, dude, or someone told me that I behaved like a fucking asshole. So I actually changed appearance and, realized that you need to be a nice guy in this business. Otherwise you won't be, come anywhere. But I always, with that attitude, I always made sure to not have a girlfriend, to not have a job that relied on me. I always picked jobs that I could leave in a day. So yeah. I went into the bar business, but obviously when you're doing something great, you're stepping up. So I was actually the bar manager of one of Gothenburg's fanciest bars. And it was a great job. I really loved it. We had the biggest tequila bar in Northern Europe. and I really enjoyed working there. But there was one point where I realized that, okay, I have to either quit music or I have to quit my job. But I did not have enough money coming in on music yet. But I could see that it will probably happen, but I don't know.
You saw the potential.
Yeah, so I bet everything on red, and I was just like, okay, I quit everything. I quit my job, and I put all the effort into my band, and I give this a year, and within a year, I was able to earn enough money to support myself, and that was probably the best decision that I ever took in my whole life. But I could imagine how it would have been. I was 26 or 27 at the time. If I would have had a girlfriend and kids and that already at that time, because then it would be impossible. So I'm happy for taking that decision to get a family later on in life. Now I'm struggling with I want to be home with my kids. I don't want to go on tour.
I know you said you didn't have you kind of structured your life around the way where you could pack up and leave if needed. But what were family and friends' reactions to you saying, you know what, guys, I'm betting everything on red. I'm quitting this nice job and I'm gonna do music. Was there any concerns from people around you?
No, not at all. Not at all. They know, or they know, and they knew that I was already inside of, because I had quitted jobs before, but not that definite, now I'm quitting. Now I'm not going to take another job. I left jobs so many times before going, you get a tour that is 2 months and you go and ask your boss, can I take vacation? No. Okay. Bye-bye. And yeah. Then you get another job when you get back. But this was a definite thing for me. I'm going to do this or not.
Oh, we're getting rated right now. Lilith, thank you for the raid. Everybody from Lilith's family, thank you and welcome. Welcome to the stream, you guys. We got
Lilith.
Jake. Yeah.
What?
we got Jake. We're hanging out with Jake. We're doing a podcast, exclamation point guest. If you guys want to know more, we're just starting. We're just scratching the surface, as they say, about his entire journey and everything he's done with music, and we're gonna dive into the acting stuff. You guys, welcome. What a party! Can we get
welcome everyone?
A huge shout out for Lilith for that raid. Thank you. Appreciate you, Lilith.
And I mean, look, Ryan has apparently already found Lilith before.
Yeah, thanks to your show, I just found Lilith today, and she's great. Awesome. Yeah, she's one of the tribes people.
So that is Lilith. I thought that the older girl that was popping up was Lilith. But okay, yeah, thank you, Lilith.
Thank you, Lilith. Absolutely. And you guys, just so you know, every single person that's hitting that follow, Dr. Death Music Paranoia, what an awesome name. Inside CD Medi. I'm horrible at reading the name. Awakened, Moby.
They're here as well. Hey guys, these I have to make some kind of commercial thing here for my friends, my gaming friends. So I'm in this great community with we're all 30 plus. Most of us has families, but we're gamers, so we're gaming together, and we're growing rapidly. We're almost 200 members now, I think. So it's called Team Frag Delivery. So search for Team Frag Delivery on Twitch, and all those members that are apparently in here watching this right now, they have their streaming channel. So if you like Warzone, check it out.
Oh hell yeah! And Derpy, if we can find that link and post it in the chat, that'll be fucking awesome. If you guys are into gaming, hit that follow. Click that link and hit that follow. Hell yeah. And inside, you just press some links there in the chat so that people could follow you, man. Absolutely. You guys, if you want, you can drop the links in the chat. It's open. Everyone can do that, and I'll appreciate it. Warzone, what's Jake's name?
My name in like, you know, all my friends, all my gaming friends, right? They are named like something weird. You know, you could barely, you know, pronounce it. You don't know how to say it when you're in game. Like, hey, Jubaresh New Russian Dragon 9146, take the stone over there. No, my name in Warzone is Jake E. That's pretty easy because that's my name. I'm not a regular gamer like that. I don't have a gaming name.
Straight to the point there. Straight to the point. I think it's a good time to jump in the question box here and check out what some of the questions are. The first one we have is from Kraggers. He says, "This is going back to the hockey days. Who's your favorite hockey player?"
Oh, ho 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 ho! There's so many great hockey players, but there's I have two favorite hockey players from two different parts in time, right? So I'm never starstruck. I've met so many celebrities throughout my years. I've been touring with like some of the Billboard number ones. I never got starstruck of any of them. But if I would one day meet Peter Forsberg, I would pee my fucking pants. That is my hero. And obviously, before Peter Forsberg, there was Wayne Gretzky. There is one reason why I'm a New York Rangers fan, and that is only because that was the team where he sort of ended his career. He went over and played down in Arizona or whatever it was. But at that point, I just like, I'm gonna stop here. I've been following him around and have like all those favorite teams. I'm gonna stop in New York. But Peter Forsberg and Wayne Gretzky, my two top favorite hockey players of all time. And I think that is a great answer to that question. It's actually the right question to the best hockey player.
Remember how you were saying? Remember how you were saying when interviewers just say, "Oh, okay, that's that's me when it comes to hockey." Cool. So the next question is, well, hopefully that answers your question, Kraggers. The next question is from Ryan. Nice necklace, Jake. Is that from Gem Sessions Jewelry?
Of course it is. I never go anywhere without this. It's a Halloween necklace from Alex Landenberg's own company that makes those from bands' symbols. You should completely check them out. And as many of you guys know, Halloween was my favorite band growing up. Was one of the reasons why I started to listen to metal music to start with. So yeah, it means a lot to me. I get this, and I got this in Christmas present from Alex, and it's a precious thing for me.
This ties into Lilith's question. I know you. I heard you talk a lot about Michael, and I can't say his last name. Kiske. Is that how you say? Yeah. Halloween's a singer. She asks, who's your favorite vocalist? Is he still up there?
Okay, starstruck again. I've never met him. I met I am like personal friends nowadays with some of the guys in Halloween, which is really weird for me. If I would tell my 15-year-old self that, I would like pee my pants again. But I never managed to meet him ever, and I think it's a good thing because I would probably, my pants again. So but I have a lot of different favorite vocalists in different styles. Michael Kiske is one of them, obviously. Rob Halford, Roy Khan, back from the days. Michael from 6 a.m. has been a great and huge inspiration for me. Joey Tempest Joey Tempest is probably the guy that inspired me to sing like I do. Because when I sing, I put a lot of emotion into, even if it's a hard song, I try to always put emotions into the words in one way or the other. That is all Joey Tempest. Bon Jovi, obviously. But there's so many singers that I can't name them all, but that's some of them. But the singer that has meant the most for me throughout my career is Joachim Kahns from Hammerfall. He's actually the only reason I am where I am today. So when I was this aspiring musician, trying to get a record deal or whatever, he saw some potential in me, became like a mentor. He helped me, he taught me, he told me all about the business. He let me go on tour with them, show how things work. And he helped me with my first record deal. And he's been doing everything for me. So that is also why me and Julianne, which is in the chat here, we have our own managing company called Guilty Gorilla Group. And when I started my part of that group before we merged, my idea was that I wanted to be that guy that Joachim Kahns was for me. He helped me, so I was trying to help other aspiring musicians, and so that I could pass on, pay forward what people had given to me. So that was a long answer of on a short question.
No, it's good. That it would sound a long podcast. We want to hear what you have to say. It's kind of this also ties into another question that we have. What's your favorite Hammerfall album? But I just want to say that I find that the mentorship aspect and the managing company and everything that you guys are doing super interesting. We will dive a little deeper into it in just a bit. But just to answer another question, what is your favorite Hammerfall album? Since you brought that up.
There is only 2 albums of Hammerfall that I don't sing on myself. I've been doing a lot of backup choirs and stuff like that, and it's Glory to the Brave and Legacy of Kings, and those 2 are my favorite. I don't know if that tells you anything, but
is there like a deep-rooted psychological thing that goes on when you're on the album versus not?
No. So me and Joachim, we're related, but we're not close related. It's like inside of the family. But when Glory to the Brave came, that was just about the same time when I started to sing in that band that I was talking about. And when I heard that, and my mom said that, like, yeah, our cousin, whatever, had released an album, you should listen to it. And I was just like, if he can do that, I could do that as well. So, I completely listened to that. I listened to that album so many times. And that album has meant so much to me. So I think it's one of the best metal albums that has ever been released.
Yeah. Let me, I missed a question. Sorry about that.
Oh, Ivandur is here as well. That's my son from Iceland. He's like 30 years old, 20 maybe.
Ivandur is the one that asked about your favorite Hammerfall album. So that's
I call him my son. He calls me his dad. So yeah, that's
we have a very strange relationship with that word on this channel, because some people use the word daddy in weird contexts in the chat. So now whenever someone says the word daddy in chat, it asks them to stop being weird. The bot actually says stop being... It's completely ruined that word for me. We have a couple of more questions that I'm gonna save for a little later. So you guys keep piling on the questions. I'll just pull them out whenever we're on the subject. But I did have a question about the timeline. What was happening leading up to your time with Amaranth, starting that band and kicking things off? How was your relationship in the music industry? Was it like, this is it, this is 100% what I'm doing, and I'm a vocalist, or was it more like were you doing some management stuff on the side? What was it like back then?
No, I had absolutely nothing to do with management back then. What was happening was that me and the guitar player, Olaf, we were playing in 2 different bands, but we were best friends back then. And none of our bands, either Dreamland, which was my band, or Dragonland, which was his band, were going anywhere. Like, there was no money coming in. We were releasing albums. We were, touring almost nothing. We made some shows, like 10 shows a year, a little bit here and there, but nothing happened. And we said that, why don't we sit down, write some music together that people want to listen to? And that might sound weird, but like power metal at the point where we released it, 2002, 2003, whatever we started, we're like dying out a little bit. So we sat down and we started to like do the Amaranthe thing, and we had this idea that the whole thing were going to be a project. We were going to invite famous musicians from the Gothenburg metal scene so that we could boost everything, so that the big magazines and festivals or whatever would show some interest in it, because they did not show any interest in our other bands. And so that was how everything started.
Yeah, so intentionally trying to not calculate, but like to think of maybe what the audience wants, instead of just the what's the heaviest or what's the most thing that I would like to play. Is that how the whole Amaranth kind of vision happened? Because I have a little
but more of like, it had nothing to do with like sellout or anything like that, but we would just like, we thought we have such big potential as musicians. We both knew that we were great songwriters and that we had it in us, but we wanted to like reach out. But going with a power metal album to a major label would never happen. They would never sign. So instead we tried to like make something that we made an album. The first Amaranthe album it has nothing to do with like selling out or anything like that. We made an album that we wanted to listen to, but we also wanted to make sure that it should have double bass drums, it should be fast, it should be aggressive, but we wanted to like combine Soilwork with ABBA, and that was what happened. And so that was our initial idea. But the idea that we had from the beginning, fell through, because all those ideas that we had to invite different people only started off. We did 2 songs with the keyboard player Richard from Evergrey and the bass player from In Flames Peter, that later turned up to be bass player of Cyhra. And then we added Andy to come in to do a couple of songs. And then after a while, when we had like 4 or 5 demos, we realized that this is never going to happen. It's so hard to like reach people. So we were, after been writing like half of the album, we started to invite other people to come in instead, that was more reachable. And that was Andy, one of them, the first growler. So we had an idea, but it turned out to be something in between what we wanted and what happened.
And turning that into the lineup and the band it was. I want to ask you about the you were saying the vision and stuff, because I have the same thing with Svengali. Like I wanted that heavy, that punchy, that thrash stuff, but also like a palatable, clean side to it as well. And like you were saying, it's not necessarily like a sellout thing. It's just that like the dynamic of both of those worlds kind of puts you in a position where you could play a show opening for we opened for Sepultura, or you can open for Deftones at the same time. It kind of put us in that weird middle ground where a lot of things exist. But I remember you while I was digging, saying that one of the things that led to you guys splitting was the fact that the vision wasn't the same as when you guys started. It wasn't the same sound and stuff like that. What was it like having to step away from something that you built from the ground up? And obviously we're very passionate about the way it sounded and the way it looked and everything about Amaranth.
Obviously, it's almost like you leave one of your kids at a foster home. You could be here, I'll go do my thing. A little bit like that. It's obviously really, really hard to leave something that you put so much work and, years of your life to create, but you only have one life. So should you stay in something where you don't feel comfortable being in? and at the same time also feel like you want one thing and the others want something else. I think then it's better to just focus on, you know, what's best for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's that's one of the things that stood out for me, is that you know, the passion and the drive behind it was the biggest reason. Like the vision, sorry, was one of the biggest reasons that happened. But it leads us to Cyhra. It leads us to everything that's happening here. So like I always say, every cloud with the silver lining, high tide raises all ships. All those things happen to get you to this place, because Cyhra is a beast already. Like it's 2 albums in. You guys have a pandemic in the middle of the journey, and you guys have been kicking ass. Let's just talk a little bit about how the idea of that happened. I was reading that you guys weren't even sure this was a band. This was just a thing 2 friends wanted to do together.
Yeah, once again, like the story goes like this with Cyhra. So after I left Amaranthe, that Jesper had recently, 2-3 years or something like that prior to that, decided to leave In Flames. But me and Jesper has always been great friends since the day that I was touring as a pyrotechnician for In Flames. And we sat down and had a cup of coffee, and he asked me, would you consider to sing on my solo album? And I said, holy shit, of course I would like to do that. I don't know what I'm gonna do right now, so if I would release something, would you like to play guitar on that? And he said, yeah, that's fine. So we started out here in this studio that I'm sitting in now, and started to write some songs for Jesper's album. And after me putting some vocals on, Jesper said that, why don't we just start one band instead of doing 2 albums? And then we were starting to discuss, like, are we just going to do a project, or is it going to be a band or whatever? And I said, I know now who's going to play drums on this album is Alexander Landenberg. He's the best drummer in the world. I hope that he likes the music. So I sent it to him. He said, without me even asking him, I sent him a message on Messenger saying, here's some new music that I'm working on. Let me know what you think. And he said, if you want a drummer, I'm your drummer. So I never had to ask him to join, which was great. And then we called Peter up, and Peter said, yeah, I'm with you. And then we had the band, and all of a sudden Oige came into the picture, and Oige added like his, sack wild approach to everything, and he's a fantastic guitar player. And Peter unfortunately left because he had no time to do what we wanted to do. And all of a sudden we were a band, and all of a sudden we had a record deal with Universal, and we were out touring, and then we ended up on Nuclear Blast, and then we went out touring, and then the pandemics, fucked us all in the back.
we could say ass on this channel. It's fine. We could say ass, but what was this is one of the coolest things, is because having been bands up until that point, you've been in bands with people that haven't necessarily been the tried and tested, haven't been had successful bands before, and you guys were building it kind of from scratch. But going into a jam room, or going into a writing session with people that completely understand the industry and have done it and have been around for a while, was there just a completely different dynamic when it came to Cyhra, and like the way you approached the first album?
Yeah, so here's the thing. So coming from, I'm not saying anything about my past experience with any other bands, right? But when you're coming from other bands where you have people that know nothing about how things work, and where they complain about everything because it feels good for them for some fucking reason. Me and Jesper came from exactly the same kind of, experiences. We said that when we're putting members onto this band, we don't care if they're the best drummer in the world, the best guitar player in the world. They need to be the best persons in the world. We could teach them to play later. We focused so much on getting the right dynamics within the band, other than someone being famous or someone being the best guitar player or whatever. Now it turns out that we have the best guitar players in the world, we have the best drummer in the world, and we have a singer. That was what we wanted to create. We wanted to have a band where, you're not only going on tour with these guys, you want to, spend time with those guys when you're off tour. Yeah. And that is exactly what happened. I mean, like me and Alex were sitting for hours yesterday chatting for the football games that were going on. I'm like, I missed that. And I really, really, really enjoy that.
Yeah, especially when you're building something where you guys are going to have to spend a fuckload of time together, egos and all that stuff aside. Having seasoned musicians that you get along with, I think, is like the perfect recipe in that case.
Absolutely.
We're gonna dive a little into some of the questions. We got Ryan is asking, delving into the negative a little bit. Can you remember a time when you were most discouraged by either an interaction with someone or by something bad that happened, and how did you overcome it?
Sometimes some things you don't overcome, Ryan. Some things you just swallow up and leave and walk away from. Absolutely.
Freight train away from it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you stop and you fight the three guys in the alley. Sometimes you realize that I should probably run away from here, and just remember that as a bad dream. And that has been what has happened to me. I've been fighting a lot of things in my life, but I've also been deciding on, like, okay, it's still in my head, but I just have to throw it on my back, because otherwise you can't sleep at night.
Yeah. There's always and I find that with a lot of creatives and like a lot of expressive people, that things like that really do take its toll. It sticks with you, and you find ways around it. You could write a bunch of songs about it, all that stuff, but it stays in the brain even though you've moved past it. It's one of those things that a lot of creatives I've talked to have.
Of course, it stays there. But it's like, you're in a relationship and you are someone leave you for what you think is the wrong grounds or whatever. There's nothing you could do about it, but you will always have that grudge hanging over you until you realize that there's nothing I can do about it. I could just move on with my life, right? And that is the same thing if that happens in your job or the music business.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about this tiny little thing that maybe some of you have heard of. There's a pandemic happening. So you guys put together this band. You guys started touring. There's a bunch of tours. It's very well received, and you start putting together a second album, and things happen. Different parts of the world start saying you guys can't travel anymore, and then people aren't allowed outside. How was your personal reaction to the pandemic, and then how was it been for a band that's considered somewhat new with in the spectrum of the industry, with a lot on the table, having that curtain close?
At first, I don't know where to start. So we released the No Halos in Hell album in November, I think, 2019, right? We directly went on tour with Battle Beast in Europe. We went home over Christmas. We started a new tour with Delane in England. And at that time, there had been confirmed cases of COVID-19, like 2 or 3 or something like that. We were still able to tour. I don't remember if I went to NAMM in LA before or after. I think I was in LA before.
NAMM was February, right? I think it was February. Just before, yeah.
just before, yeah. But after NAMM, there was a lot of people getting sick, and they did not understand what it was. And obviously, on those conventions, there's so many people from all over the world. So you knew nothing. And then we did this tour. Get home like a week after everything's closed, and we had a European tour, a US tour, and 2 tours in Japan and Russia coming up. And like, okay, what are we gonna do now? Like, how long is this gonna take? And Sweden was really weird at the beginning. Some of the ministers of the healthcare, whatever, I don't know the word in English, said that we will probably not get this here, so you could be safe. Like 2 weeks later, everything was closed down, even though we were open as a country, but everything, but like the hospitals were overfilled and whatever. And now a year and a half later, you have restructured your life, right? Your life does not look like it used to be. You're like, me and my wife, we just celebrated our first anniversary as married, even though we've been together for 10 years. And I just realized the other day, this time as been married, it's the first time that we actually spend every day together. Like, usually I'm gone 4 or 5 months a year. Now I've been home. So that is a weird feeling. I've been going to work like 8 in the morning, left at 4 in the afternoon. I've been in the studio writing for other artists instead of my own. And your life as a touring musician starts to fade away in the distance, right? When you're talking about it right now, I'm like, yeah, I don't think that ever gonna happen again.
Yeah, it's almost like a parallel universe at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, that when the day comes, when I stand on the stage again, I will probably be the happiest guy in the world. But it feels so far off right now that I don't even want to dream about it. I like, when the day comes, it comes, right? It's what it is.
Yeah. And the fact that you guys had your 1-year anniversary, congratulations, by the way, just a couple of days ago, and being home with the kids and everything that's going on, has there been any part of you at all? The world's going through a lot of different stuff. It's been a good year for you in the home life. Has there any part of you been that's like, maybe touring isn't the thing that I like to do? Is there any little voice in the head that said that, or is it just one of those things where it's like, as soon as you see the bus, as soon as you see the stage, it's going to turn back on and you'll be, or because I know a lot of people that I've talked to said after this pandemic, they're going to revisit at least the way they book shows to maybe at least spend more time at home in between tours and stuff like that. Has any of that been?
I already reevaluated that when I started Cyhra, because with my old band, we were touring constantly. We toured so much that I had to not to do some of the tours because I felt that I was gone from my kids too much. So other people had to fill in for me on tours, which was unfortunate for the fans, obviously, but I had to do it for myself and for my kids. And this is the same thing here. I have a pretty good feeling on how much you could be away and what's good for the kids and so on and so forth. But they are growing up. My daughter is now almost 80 years old. When I started out, she was 0.
Yeah.
So I've never been home so much in my life. And to answer your question, no. And here's the thing: I lived my whole life like it will, having the thought in my head, like, it will never happen. It will never happen. It will never happen. Oh, it happened. Because when you think that nothing will happen, you are fighting harder to go to that point, right? If you know that something will happen, well, then you could just relax. But if you tell yourself that nope, you're never going to make it, you're never going to make it, then at least myself is fighting harder to reach that point where you're actually making it.
Yeah.
But of course I want to go out and tour again, but still I tell myself it's never going to happen, it's never going to happen. But I do that for a purpose, because I do the purpose for that is because I want it to happen, right?
Yeah, that's a cool little mind trick. I find I don't know about you. I want to ask you about fatherhood, because I love the subject. I have a 1.5-year-old. I'm very new to the game. But the
Congrats.
Thank you. The second he was born, something switched in my head. It was early pandemic. Like, he was 3 months old when everything kicked off. 6 months old when everything kicked off, and it was just something in my head clicked off, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to be this traditional goes to the office, comes back angry dad that I had. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy. I want to work harder at the art and at the stuff that I actually love creating, because I want to be happier around him. Even if it means maybe I work a little harder at night, or I stay up a little longer. And these days, the end result would be, more positive household in general. Being on the road, being a touring musician, being a new father, all that stuff. How hard was it for you back then to kind of power through all those emotions? How did it affect you in those days?
Yeah, in the beginning, absolutely. And just as you say, I think that is for all parents. You never know what's gonna happen, right? But that day when the kid comes out and you hold that, human being in your hands, you're like, whoa, what happened now? I remember me and my wife, when our daughter, when we got home from the hospital the day after, and at the hospital, everyone is taking care of you. They take the kid and say, like, you could go and wash yourself and have a cup of coffee, we take care of the kid and blah blah blah, and you come back and here's your kid. But then 2 days later, when you get home, you open the door and we looked at each other and like, what are you doing now? Like,
Yeah.
does it like to lay on the bed? What like, how is it cold? Like, no one is telling you how to raise a kid when they're like a couple of days old. You just have to figure that out yourself. And that is obviously weird. But as I told you before, I was just like you. I decided to take some tours off where I did not attend, because I felt that not too much for the kid's sake at that point, because the kid were so young, so she wouldn't care if I was there or not, but for my wife that had to be home with the kid on herself for a single mom for way too long. And at first I was actually angry for the situation that I've been fighting my whole life to get to this point, and now I have to step down because I'm a father. Because like the general view of fatherhood is that, just as you said before, that the daddy can go and come and go as he wants, and just take part of the fun stuff, and the mom is doing all the hard work. And it took me some time to like release those old shackles and chains that you've been brought up with, to realize that, dude, you're a fucking asshat. Do something about this.
Yeah, unlearning the confines of like the social structure. I mean, I'm from the fucking Middle East, dude. We have so many social structural pillars that I had to shed my shed away from my personality and try to overcome all that shit. Being a new husband back in the day, a new father, all that stuff, and it's probably harder to get rid of them than to learn new things at that point.
Absolutely. I have to thank my wife for that, because she taught me a lot on how like the whole feminist movement and everything is like working, and what I've been doing wrong, and what is wrong with the world. Things that has been eye openers for me, because like I've been living my life with blindfolds, because I'm a white privileged man that, you know, never have any problems. So that has been quite interesting, to be honest.
It perfectly ties into to this next part that I want to go into, but I'd like to answer some of the tribe's questions just in a quick round before we jump into this next part, because I want to ask about how all of this filters into Cyhra, and how all of this filters into what you're doing now. But Gorillas in the Mist is asking, as a follower of this great channel, what is Jake's idea about bagpipes being used in metal? That's our way of saying bagpipes on this show. And then they continue to say, I have another question. What's Jake's opinion about cultural different instruments being used in metal in general?
What kind of questions are they? Come on. I mean, like, I have a question for you guys. What do you think about having, pink tires on your car? Is it still going to be a car?
It's still going to be a car.
I don't know. No, but come on, like, why? I don't understand the question. I don't know if the questions are meant to be funny, or if it's meant to be because like one thing with the music industry that I dislike is that everything needs to be sorted in so many different compartments. It needs to be compartmentalized and put in different drawers. Like, if someone asks you, okay, what kind of musicians are you? Like, yeah, I'm a singer. Okay, what do you play? Metal. What kind of metal? Yeah, metal. Yeah, but is it power metal? Is it goth metal? Is it Egyptian metal? Is it Icelandic metal? Is it folk metal? Is it whatever? Like, I don't fucking care. It's music. Do you like it? You like it. If not, you know, you could categorize it as you like. But just because you have bagpipes on a heavy metal song, does that mean that it has to be bagpipe metal then? I don't get it. It actually makes me a little bit annoyed because I understand that a label needs to label things, like for them to sell things. But it's music, right?
It's music. Julian says also because it's Robert asking the question.
Hi, Robert. No, but here's the thing: if you go 20 years back in time, Judas Priest were bashed because they had keyboards.
Yeah.
On turbo, and like Iron Maiden swore that we were never ever going to use keyboards in our rock metal music, and like then they did, and people were upset about that. It's like instruments are about creating sound landscapes of sound, right? So I don't understand. I used to say like this: if a song is good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. It doesn't matter if you play that on, you know, harmonica or, you know, a Gibson guitar. Like, a good song is a good song.
Dude, we've had that so much, and because of the show, I've started learning a lot about there's subgenres within the subgenres. At this point, there's not only
not even IKEA can sell a drawer that has so many drawers.
Exactly, but the elitism in metal is actually a topic that we always talk about here, because we have been known to get slammed for even my band and this show. Like we say death metal night, and we play something that some people don't consider death metal, and they're like, that's not fucking death metal. It's like, listen, man, we're just having fun. But some people take it very seriously, very, very seriously. And they, I always find it very, very amusing, because rock and metal and punk and all the stuff that we come from has been against putting yourself in a box. It's going outside of the box and doing something that you want. And I find it very amusing when people turn around and come back and say, yeah, but also you have to wear the black T-shirt, or else you're not metal enough.
Yeah, but there's another thing. I don't know how it is anymore because I rarely listens to music myself anymore. But when I grew up, it was always like this, that if one person had their favorite band that they found in the woods of Norway somewhere in the dark, and they had their T-shirt and they listened to them, and then found out that there were more people listening to this band, and this band all of a sudden became huge and were played on the radio, they would stop listening to that band because they sold out. They had more fans. It was their band. And now that band is bad because they attracted more people than just that person that found them first. So now they have to stop listening to that band. That is something that I never will understand with the metal community.
It's the possession, I think, that, like you exactly said, it was their band. A lot of people feel very strongly about ownership of finding that new band, of finding the underground artists and stuff. But luckily, these nutcases in the chat, at least the ones that have been around for a while, the tribe, are get stoked, get happy when someone actually achieves their goals and reaches new heights. But because we've made fun of people leaving or breaking CDs or taking down posters because a band got signed, especially from the Middle East. Well, I always found that hilarious.
Okay, so if you actually managed to like succeed with what your main goal was from the beginning, like getting signed to a label, then people don't like you anymore because you sold out.
It's absolutely amazing. I want to. All right, we'll get back to the questions. We'll get back to the conversation. I have so much to ask you, but I want to play you guys a bit of Cyhra. I want to play "Dreams Gone Wrong" music video for you guys, so you guys can check it out. Jake, do you want to tell us anything about this song or this video in particular before we give it to the tribe?
Absolutely. You probably all heard the stories of all the famous bands that have been recording an album and they think that it's a great album, but they missed that song. Like, for example, Black Sabbath had Paranoid, where the label were coming in and saying that, okay, you need another song. You have 2 days. You have to write something else because we need a hit song. And they wrote Paranoid because they were just like, oh, fuck you, label. We hate you. We're going to write a crappy song. We don't like it. And that turns out to be like a hit song. Ed Sheeran had that on his latest album. I don't remember the name of the song, but the most played song ever in the universe and of all time, that whatever it's called, was also exactly the same thing. And this song that you're going to play now, I was the one feeling that it's a great album, but we miss one song. And so I went into Studio B and I was fiddling around with some keyboards, and I had him in mind when I wrote the song. And 10 minutes later, I called the other guys like, I have it. So come in and add your pieces to it. And I think when the day was done, the whole song was ready. And all of a sudden, it turns out to be one of the singles from the album. So yeah, there's so many other songs on the album that took me and the band months to record and write. This one took a day. So it's funny.
This is it. This is the one, you guys. Here's Dreams Gone Wrong. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, my microphone. There you go. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. That was Dreams Gone Wrong by Cyhra. Dude, that's a banger. I see the chat. A lot of people, even Belfagor, who's into the blackiest of black metal, says this isn't what I normally listen to, but I really like this.
Thank you very much. And Belfagor, I used to tour with Dimmu Borgir, so I'm a safe guy.
Cheesy McDab there with the clap. You guys are there was a mosh pit. A little mosh pit happened over in the chat. There's a stage dive. Hell yeah. So this is off the No Halos in Hell album. Is there a question? Oh, Ryan just asked a
Ryan is asking a question, and I know what he wants me to answer, but I'm honest. But here's the thing, Ryan. You have to write the name of the new project that I just guested on, because my memory sucks and I forget all the names. And now I'm stressed being in an interview in front of people. So, but he asked me what my favorite guest features I have done is. And
I can help you out with that. I can help you out with that, because his first.
Say that. Yeah, but first I must say, I chose my guest appearances extremely carefully. I get so many requests to guest on things, and I even say no to bands that are offering me a lot of money to do it, because I think that it should fit, or I should like the song, or I should see some potential on it. I never ever do a guest appearance just because someone is paying me money to do it. And obviously I'm getting paid to do guest music or guest spots, but I do it because I like the music. And Ryan's band is absolutely one of the top 5 that I've been doing. And Ryan is such an amazing person, singer, and a friend of mine, I must say. We've never, really met like we're supposed to, but I know that when we're hanging out for real next time, we're gonna be best buddies.
Hell yeah. And so basically what I was gonna say is that Ryan did ask it in a joking matter, mentioning enigmatic entrance as part of the question, but yeah, how do you separate the different, like when you're guesting on an album, say like Ryan's, how do you mentally separate that? I've been struggling covering songs. I don't know how to sound or apply myself to anything else. Is it something you struggle with, or are you always looking for like the expression? Are you finding you're expressing yourself?
Here's the thing. I might be wrong. I mean, we might be completely off here. But when someone wants me to sing on their song for their band, they want Jake E to come in and sound like Jake E, right? Because they want the guest appearance by Jake. So I never struggle with that. I do my thing, and I hope that the band is happy with my appearance. Obviously, there's always like this back and forth conversation, like, can you do it differently, or can you approach it in a different way? But with covers, which is funny, on my YouTube channel, all of you up in here, please go to Jake E Official on YouTube and follow me there. There's me. But there I do covers, and the reasons for me doing these covers and why I post them is because I want to learn how to sing differently. I want to widen myself, and I want to become a better singer. So that is why I do it. And that is what you said, you're having a hard time with that. I obviously also have a hard time with that. Some of these songs I've been doing 500 takes on until like I'm happy with them.
So do you? This is a loaded question, because I asked this to a few of the guests, especially the more seasoned musicians. How often do you practice? I mean, the YouTube videos aside, is there like a practice schedule? Is it still the 6 hours a day back from like when you were 17 years old, or is it a little less frequent now?
No, but I work as a songwriter these days. I mean, I sing probably 3-4 hours a day, something like that. And those YouTube covers things I do when I squeeze in some time to do something else. But for me, those hours that I put into the YouTube things are practice time for me. So why not just post them and maybe get some revenue from them in the long run? Yeah. So one of the other things that I'm not gonna hide under a stone and say that it's not like that, but one of the things that I really want to do is to do like Disney movies one day, because I love how to sing like that, and different approaches and stuff like that, and that is also one of the reasons why I post this. maybe someone will stumble over it and like it, you know.
Yeah, I remember seeing actually a Disney cover on the YouTube channel, and I think that it's either one of or the most viewed video on that channel, and it's fucking great. It actually it's a huge sound. It sounds amazing. I feel like it fits your voice perfectly.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That is the only song. It has like 40,000 views or something, and I posted that one because my daughter, she was singing that song over and over and over, and she wanted to listen to it over and over and over, and I couldn't get it out of my head. So the only way for me was to just record it. And I think that she was even in the room when I was recording it, and I did it in like no time. I put like auto-tuner on it, and you know, it was a one take, and I just recorded it, posted it up so that she could listen to me singing it instead of like having to put on the movie all the time. So that was probably the song that I put least effort in, and also the one that I got most hate on. Like, yeah, you auto tune your vocals, and I was just like, I post there, this song is for my kid, nothing else. So you know,
it's difficult being someone in the public eye and trying to explain to people, like, listen, sometimes we just do things for the kids, for the family. Like, this is cool. Yeah, it's posted, but it's
sorry for interrupting you, but I must say I always forget that I am somewhat of a public figure. I've never seen myself as a celebrity. I never seen myself as a public figure. I never seen myself as anyone that, you know, is anything better than anyone else. I just see myself as a regular guy that is doing music, and sometimes that bites you in the back because you're too open about things. You're talking about things too personal, and you know, all of a sudden people are putting knives in your back because of that. So that is a weird thing. I need to like learn how to. I think I found like a middle ground, but you know, I never think of me of anything else than myself.
But also in the same breath, the other thing that I after doing a bunch of the research and reading and watching the interviews and stuff, you are very honest, and I think that attracts a lot of people. A lot of the realness that comes in. There's no persona. There's no like a mask that you hide behind. You answer a question the way you would answer it on off camera, all that kind of stuff. And I think that attracts a lot of people, and that's why I think the like outside of Cyhra, the Jake E fan base is very loyal, because you don't bullshit them. You give them the straight answers.
Yeah, exactly. But also comes with a downside, because like I'm always trying to be as politically correct as I humanly can, and all that. But you know, it always gets harder to not make a wrong turn, if you understand what I mean. Because if someone like me that is always honest and, you know, politically correct or whatever, all the way through, if I accidentally write something that could be interpreted in another way, people hate me more than if I would just be a douchebag all the time. Then people would just say, yeah, that's Jake. But do I make myself clear?
It absolutely does. And speaking of interpretation and politically correct, it actually ties into no Halos in Hell, because I've read some interpretations of specifically that title and some of the songs on there, and I also know that you're not really into organized religion. Did you know some people interpreted that title as a little bit of a pro-religion? I don't know how, but there was a couple of articles in there that they're like, yeah, if you're not good, you go to hell.
Okay, so as I write my lyrics, I always try to write my lyrics so that you could, interpret it for yourself. I want the listener or the reader to like read it and get their own opinion about what the song is about. It also comes with the title. I did not make up the title. The title is Jesper Strömblad's that came up with it. But I made my own interpretation of it, and I also wrote the song on the album about it. I am against all organized religions. I am not against religious people. I think religion has a really good thing, like they have a lot of good things to say, like if you take like the 10 commandments or whatever, there's good things in there, but organized religion and how it still is around us 2021, for me it doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand in the 1500s or the Vikings or whatever, where they had no idea about why the sky was blue, why there were clouds in the air, what happens when you die. Lynn from Paris or how the hell you pronounce it. You know the band name Paris, but with a V instead of an A.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's written the best line ever. The cross you wear around your neck, your neck, you only wear it because you're afraid of what will come next. And that is exactly how I view religion in general. And I don't care which religion it is. I have more faith in Vikings, and because they were not believers, they knew. And the difference between that is that they were not believing in Valhalla. They knew. They were like, when they were 30, they went to war and let people stab them because they knew that they will not get there unless they were stabbed in a battle, which is of course completely stupid. But it's my view of it. Like,
but yeah, they weren't testing their beliefs. That's for sure. They, like you said, they knew. They lived and breathed it.
Yeah, exactly. And here's another thing that annoys me. Like, we humans, we're so smart, right? We invented so many great things. We conquered the universe. We've done so many great things. We cured diseases, and then we believe in 3,000 different gods. I mean, like, yeah. I could also be a believer if there was one God to praise, to. But here's the thing: like, only in the U.S. there's like 300 subgroups to the Catholic Church, and that is just one thing. And that is that, okay, the Bible says this, but our church, we think it should be like this. Yeah, it's almost the same, but this one is purple.
But not just the U.S. The Middle East is riddled with that.
I just took the U.S. as a comparison, and where I know where my facts are correct. So you could start a Catholic church, but you call it the Catholic Biker Church. And in your Bible, you write that you should never drive a motorcycle with a helmet on, because that will, angry the gods. So then it's okay for you to drive without the helmet. Like you're cherry picking stuff so that it fits your life better, which for me is completely bullshit.
Has that been fuel for art for you in general, whether it's music or songwriting or in terms of lyrics or the song itself, or
one of the favorite lines on the No Halos in Hell song is I borrowed one line, or not one line, I borrowed one word, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, right? But I write, there is no stairway to your paradise. And I think that summons a lot of, what the whole song is about.
Yeah, absolutely. Adnan Rocha in the chat says, of course it will anger the gods. Who rides with a helmet on? Anyway, so I guess we have the biker Catholics in the house. And I think Marissa and Belfagor just started their own religion, Belphology, in the chat while we were discussing that.
Yeah, but if I would ever go to a religion, it would be the angry pasta monster or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, the pasta monster in the sky guy. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. The Middle East is infamous, to say the least, for their interpretations and their restrictions when it comes to the subject, and when it comes to, like you said, I don't. If you're a religious person in general, no,
she wasn't ready.
If you're a religious person in general, I have nothing against it. You do you kind of thing. It's
absolutely not. And I always need to clear that. I have nothing against people, because like if people would hate me because I like heavy metal, that would be really weird. So why should I hate on someone or think less of anyone that find themselves in religion? I have nothing against people's beliefs. I have nothing against that people are seeking affection in God or a higher purpose or whatever. I am talking about the organized religion as itself. I'm like, the Vatican has more money than anyone else, and they could save the poverty problem in Africa. But do they do that? No. And for me, that doesn't make sense. All the money that comes into the churches in the United States that does not have to pay taxes. Where does this money go? Yeah, to the rich that are believers. I mean, like, isn't that completely against what their religion is about, to help people?
Yeah, 100%. It's 100% the same outlook I have, especially living here in the Middle East, and the stuff that you see in like grand mosques that have laced gold leaves on the inside, and then if a homeless person rocked up and tried to seek shelter overnight and on the courtyard of that thing, they kick him out. It's like, wait, what? Isn't this where they're supposed to go? It's not. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I, as soon as I heard that you were on the same page, I was like, we just gotta touch on the subject a little bit.
Yeah. But it's a hard subject, and as a musician, it's hard to do those standpoints. I mean, like, I never made a stand. I mean, I've tried to be as non-political as I humanly can. But some stuff like this, you just need to talk about. But it's also important to make everyone understand what you're talking about, so that people are not offended that but I'm religious, so he hates me, I'm going to stop listening to his music now. That is not what this is about.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a very tricky subject, Denmark. Absolutely agree. And I think that's one of the beauties of having this long form kind of interview is we get to touch on subjects and actually get to hear the artist get to the point where it's not just I'm not just saying fuck religion, basically, in all aspects. It's organized religion, specifically in other religious people and stuff like that. It's definitely a tricky one to tackle. But I want to switch gears a little bit.
Me too. I want to say something first. So there's a lot of people in here that I know that I know is in here to listen to me, but I see that the follow on the unmuted channel has not gone up since I went in. So please follow the channel so that we reach over 1,000. We're not going to end this interview unless the follows are hits 1,000 followers, right?
Oh, dude, thank you. Oh, thank you, Ryan. There he goes. Thank you, dude. That really means a lot. That's very fucking cool of you. Cheers, man. I wanted to switch gears into talking a little bit about just how wide of a spectrum a musician has to be in this day and age. Like we were saying very, very top of the show, you already do a ton of things, but I feel like you also have a lot of these different things in mind. I remember reading somewhere that even the band name Cyhra, you were thinking about search engine optimization. Is it something that people could easily find, or is it something that would be lost on the internet. For example, like there's a band here that was called I think it was called Unforgiven or something. I was like, you guys will never be found. No one will ever find Unforgiven, even if you write Unforgiven Band Dubai. That's not gonna be the first line. So how did you have to, or when along the timeline did you have to start switching gears and thinking, yo, like let's think of the Instagram stuff, let's think of the online stuff, because that's almost half of being in a band these days, I think.
Yeah, and I'm too old for this, and I'm also from Sweden, right? The country that has its own word for not being too good, not being too bad, being like in between. The word is we're the only country in the world that has that word, and I cannot really translate it, but. It's all about that you should never be better than anyone else. You should never show people that you are, something special. You should, just be you. You should not brag about yourself. That is all the Swedish way, right? So when it comes to like social media, I am having such a hard time to like promote myself and even posting a picture of me on Instagram, because I'm always thinking like, who cares? Like, why should I do this? And then I post a photo and then I realize, oh, there was thousands of people that like this. Okay, so people are interested. And then the next day comes and you're like, no, who cares? But then there's other bands that are fantastic with this, and usually those guys and girls, they're in their 20s now, because those people, they're like this old Swedish way, that's gone for them. They never grew up with it. They're all Americanized, and you just put your elbows like that and push forward, which has helped them a lot. For me, the social media thing is like, I suck at it.
It's something that's very prevalent, right? Like you have to have that stuff in everyday life now, being a musician.
What do you mean?
Like, do you feel like you can do Cyhra, do the things you do without it, or does every musician need to have that in mind?
I think that all musicians and actors or whatever that does not hire someone to do that needs to be like trained in social media. It's like my wife is really good when it comes to like adding those emojis and whatever, and I don't fucking understand what it does. Like, I remember one time I replied to something, and unfortunately it was a girl that had written something nice, and I responded with like an emoji, and my wife were furious because that emoji means something really disrespectful, and I was like, but it's a heart. Yeah. Like, yeah, but that heart means that you want to heart with her. But how the fuck do I know that? I'm 40 years old.
Yeah.
Come on.
The red heart is different to the blue heart, by the way. But you mentioned musicians or actors or people in the creative field. We still haven't even touched on acting and being a radio host, all the other stuff that you do. Let's talk a little bit about acting. When has acting popped up in Jake's life?
Acting has been something that I've wanted to do for so long, since I was a kid, but I never dared to follow that dream. I was always too shy, and I've always had this, how do you say it, perfectionistic filter on myself, that I never thought that I was good enough to do things. It never came with hockey for some reason. For hockey, I just knew that I was the best player ever. But even if I wasn't, but also for singing, I still doubt myself whenever I do anything. It's like, is it good enough? Is it good enough? Nah, it's not good enough. But then a couple of years back, I got this audition call for a movie here in Sweden and I was just like, okay, finally someone is knocking on my door to ask me to join this thing that I've always wanted to do. Now I cannot say no. So that's when it all started. So and since then I've been an aspiring actor. I've been doing some small stuff, some big things, stuff that has not come out yet, and things that are in the making. But it's been a dream of mine to be a real, and you could see that if you see all the Amaranthe videos that I've directed together with Patrick Oleus, you see that I have have that dream, because that is the reason why those music videos looks like they do.
How do you approach how do you approach the two different worlds? How are you the guy in the band, the songwriter, the musician, and the actor at the same time? Is it a split thing, or are they very similar to you?
I think I actually think that there's a reason why there's so many musicians that becomes actors. Like they're, what's his name? Justin Timberlake, for example, I think is a fantastic actor. Even though he hasn't been doing that many movies, but he's been doing some great movies. And so many other musicians as well, is because a musician is going up on stage, and most of the time the musician on stage is not the same person that is off stage. You put like on a role, and that role is to become like a rock star, someone with big arms, wide gestures, believing in yourself, being someone else, taking the audience, whatever. And transforming that into acting is pretty easy for us musicians, because we're doing it every day. Even if we're not thinking about that we're acting, we're still acting. So then it's easy for us to like take on a role, learn the words, and then say that in front of the camera. And why I say that is because I know there's so many people that wants to become actors that are just like, sorry for like, but don't have any fancy musician job, or something in they're just working at an office, but they want to become an actor. And some of them does not have what it takes to just go through that invincible border that I'm talking about. While the threshold that we musicians have, we go through that thing every day.
Is it reminiscent of back in the day when you guys were starting out, and you had that drive, you wanted that big Iron Maiden poster? Is it reminiscent of the same feeling for that passion when you're talking about acting?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's because because it came a little later. I'm curious if you're more comfortable with that drive, with that fuel. You know what I mean? Like, do you look at it like it's another challenge, but I can do it, or is it like 17-year-old Jake pushing through everything, regardless of what comes next?
Here's the thing. So I know that I can do it. I know that I am a good actor. I know what I can do. The problem with acting and music, like if I call anyone in the music industry today, I could always name drop myself and what I've done, and I could reach the specific person in mind because they would listen to me, because I'm someone inside of the music business that has a track record. The problem is that with acting, it's so hard because I'm not even close to the fence that I need to climb over. Does that make sense? Like it's so hard to I cannot just call someone in the music business or in the acting business and say that, hey, I want to be in that movie with Brad Pitt. That's never going to happen. So you need to start on the demo level again, just as you did with music. start to do like the independent movies, and then someone will have to see that, and like a director needs to like you, and throw you into another project where you're the guy sitting drinking tea 10 seconds into the movie, and then you're gone.
Yeah. The what is it called when it's the background actor?
I'm not gonna do I'm past the extra stuff. I'm happy
the extras.
for that.
That's the word I was looking for.
I'm past that, but still, it's a hard thing, and I don't never know if I'm ever gonna make it that far. But I made one movie so far, and I'm really proud of it. It's gonna be out next year, I think. So we'll see.
And where just before we dive into Guilty Gorilla stuff, where's the best place for people to find everything Jake? Is it the website? Are you more active on Instagram? Where can the tribe follow
my
up
biggest
with
platform? My biggest platform right now is Instagram. It's Jake_E_official. I would be happy if you follow me there. The social media that I'm really trying to build up at the moment is my YouTube channel, which is the same thing, Jakey Official in the same word. And then it's Facebook that is dying out. I don't see Facebook being something that you should be on in 5 years, to be honest, unless they change their algorithms, because as a band on Facebook nowadays, I think Facebook destroyed that whole thing. I don't know if you agree with me, but
I 100% agree. Yeah. This show used to actually we used to actually stream the show on Facebook before we moved over to Twitch 6 months ago. It's gone because even if you follow a band, even if you're on that platform, you hit follow and I want to get notified by you, as a band you would have to boost your post with money for your followers that already clicked follow to actually see it. Exactly. And it just turned into this thing that no one's getting the content they want, and I think everyone jumped ship completely.
It's really, really weird when we started, the reason why we got signed with the Amaranthe from the beginning was MySpace.
Yeah.
And MySpace back then was really good when it came to reaching people. It sucked because it was all HTML. So you needed to be a coder to understand how to build the page.
Everyone became a coder to change their backgrounds. I remember that one. Yeah.
Exactly. But then someone got in there and bought it and completely destroyed it, changed it to something completely different, and then Facebook took over, and now Facebook is the new MySpace.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like we said, and for those that didn't catch the links in the chat, all the links are going to be on our Discord right after the stream, and we'll make sure that you guys get them. So if you haven't already joined Discord, jump over there, join the we call it the Death Chord because
Death Chord, yeah.
Because my first band was called Red Rum. I'm just following up with.
I have to back up to the question you asked before, because we barely touched the thing you said about Google and the search optimization thing there, which I actually found a word called Cyhra. I think it was Cyhra. And that is the Persian name for moon or something like that. And my daughter's name is Celine, which means moon. So I thought that would be cool, but then I wanted to have a specific spelling of Cyhra, so I added the H in between so that it also looked appealing. And we were searching, and there was nothing on that name, so we would be the only thing that could come up on Google. So I think that there are so many metal bands nowadays, just as you said, that are called Shadow Empire, Shadow Legend, Shadow Force, Brutal, whatever. They're never going to be on top of the list. And who is clicking on something that you have to go to page 5 on? No one.
Yeah. The other one that I always try to, whenever I meet new and upcoming bands or bands that are just starting out, the other end of the spectrum is the bands that have like full sentences. I met like just like you and me under the stairs at 6. I'm like, what? Why? What is it? What does that even mean?
my next band is going to be called 3 Random Words.
3 random words. Yeah, 3 random. If you add a "the" in it, that's perfect. That's it. That's the one. But yeah, the extra long band names also. I'm like, if you search the sentence that long, all those different words would pull up different things. So there's no way I could find you online.
But here's another thing. I'm sitting here saying, like, it almost sounds like we know best, and apparently those 3 Random Words bands, like blah 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 Grace and blah 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 that and Bring Me the Horizon or whatever, they're like the biggest band in the world. So they've apparently done something right, and we done something wrong because we're not them. But Ryan, my friend here in the chat, his band name is so hard that I never remember the name. So that is a bad band name. In if we're talking about, like, okay, not a bad band name. I'm sorry for saying bad, but you'll understand what I mean.
But he also just wrote. I just started a new band with Julian as a guitarist and Lars as a guitarist called Big Pipe. Okay, that's
Big Pipe.
Big Pipe. That's the one that we're supposed to follow now.
Whatever you do, guys, do not use bagpipes in that, because then I'm gonna get really angry.
Speaking of Ryan and Julian and kind of guiding upcoming bands and all that stuff, let's talk about Guilty Gorilla. Let's talk a little bit about that whole journey, because this is a sidestep from being in front of the camera, from being the performer, to a little more behind the scenes. How did that whole thing start?
It started out as when Amaranthe started to take off, I also started to become the manager of my own band. And at a later stage, it became too big. So we had to like get more people into it. But I was all the way through until I left the band, I was managing the band, and I learned a lot during this period in time. And after I left, I had no idea what to do, so I figured out, why don't I just like start my own management company? And after been running that and having a couple of bands, a friend of mine and a friend of Julien, which is in the chat here, said that you guys should work together. You should join forces. So we met and we became best buddies, and we co-founded this management together called Guilty Gorilla Group. And there's the Gorilla. The Gorilla has a new appearance soon, which is going to be great. But so we're focusing or have been focusing on helping, as I said before, newer artists that are struggling with getting their first record deal, or maybe they had their first record deal and they have potential but never been able to like really get out there, putting them into the business.
Yeah, we actually had Jake on, Julian on the podcast, where I played him a bunch of underground Middle Eastern metal bands and got his reaction, and people from members from the bands and from the scene here got to ask him questions, and it was just a very instinctive kind of immediate reaction response thing that he did, and a lot of people had a lot of fun with that. And I think the reason I'm attracted to Julian. The reason I'm attracted to him is is because I have this fondness of people, for people that go out of their way to support up and coming artists in general. Like, I think the business aspect of it aside, I think the fact that you would go out of your way to to teach or mentor or support, manage all that stuff, especially when it, like you said, up and coming bands, to get that first album out, to get that first tour book, to get that stuff. I'm very much drawn to that energy, and but not a lot of people have that. A lot of people, especially the people that have been through the ringer, that have made it, will turn around and just be like, it doesn't fucking matter. Why would I care about this new band that's coming up? Other than managing Amaranth and the stuff that you did for your own band, were you always interested in how you could maybe pass that mentorship and that guidance on?
And no, there was actually Joachim Kahns from Hammerfall that did everything that, all that things he did for me. I just realized that someone helped me to become who I am today. So the movie Pay It Forward, it tells it all. I like the whole concept about that. Like, just if someone is kind to you, just be kind to someone else.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That, but the Pay It Forward film, man, I haven't heard of that film in a while. We should.
It's the guy from what's his name called? I suck at names, but I see dead people.
Oh, The Sixth Sense. Yeah, the kid from The Sixth Sense. That's who it was. Absolutely.
Bon Jovi, but I think Bon Jovi is in the movie as well.
Really? We should, guys, try. Maybe we should do a watch party someday.
Oh yeah, Bon Jovi is the guy's dad in the Pay It Forward movie.
All right. We'll definitely need to rewatch that. I remember watching it, but it's just one of those things that. Also, I'm getting old. I have a gray beard.
Yeah, you're like 27, so I feel you.
It's really not 27. I'm 33. I'm 33, but my soul is 73.
I wouldn't have guessed a day under 50.
Speaking of old people, Julian has a bunch of questions for you.
Yeah, you should be on my radio show whenever I broadcast that again. That was the best overpass I've ever heard.
Julian has a bunch of questions for you in the question box.
Yeah, you can call me any day he wants.
Is your business colleague also a PC correct person?
No.
Politically correct person is what he's asking.
He's a PC person, though.
He's a PC person. He's not a Mac person for sure.
He does not. Yeah, he does not own a Mac. Like my new friend from the Unmuted show is.
Listen, you guys.
I didn't even know why I didn't even know why I talked to you, to be honest, because you're on a Mac. I mean, come on. 2021.
There's nothing like getting your balls busted on the show.
On a Mac?
while you're streaming on a Mac. That's you said you were a gamer. You play Warzone.
Yeah.
I can't even play that game on this machine.
No, exactly, because you're from the Middle East and you can only afford Macs there.
It's not even funny how expensive this piece of shit was, by the way.
That was the funny part, because us living up here in Europe, we think that everyone living in the Middle East there are prince and have their own castle and 50 Lamborghinis and whatever. And we all know that Macs are not very cheap. So yeah.
Yeah. But, listen, I can be a prince.
It was something called an intelligent joke.
You're giving them fuel, Jake. You're giving them fuel. They're gonna run with this forever now. I'm not gonna hear the end of it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm not gonna give you any more fuel unless you follow.
You guys, if there's anyone in the chat that hasn't followed, please hit that follow. It goes a long way for us on the channel. Jake, Julian also asked, Jake, should I offer Svengali a spot on the roster? Oh,
absolutely.
Julian. On the air like that.
I love the band. I would sign you for 80-20 deal, our favor.
Listen, would it help if I told you we recorded the album on a Mac? Would that throw things?
It's a 90-10 deal then. I mean, all about this paid forward is one thing, but no one said that I was a kind manager or anything.
I'll pay some of it forward.
No, but absolutely, we should absolutely offer you some kind of guidance and a really lucrative deal on the Guilty Gorilla Group. Because I really like the band. I really like the band.
Thank
you.
The
only thing I want to do is to visit Dubai.
Well, we're that might happen. We're opening up here again. I see Matasam in the chat already. Middle East Records, who's a promoter here in Dubai, and Julian and I have been having conversations of maybe bringing some people over, maybe bringing some bands over, maybe.
Yeah, Cyhra could come over there. I would love that. The 95.5 deal, Julian. We have to talk about this. That's way too generous.
What else do we have? We have a question. You said the name earlier. I can't pronounce it now that I see it. But your son, a 30-year-old son.
Yeah, Casey.
What's the worst or most awkward thing that ever happened at a gig?
With Casey?
No. Your friend, your gaming friend, the guy that you say is your son, Evander.
Yeah. Ivander.
There you go. I saw the letters and my brain was like, I have no idea what's happening.
One time at Bandcamp, we were playing London once with Amaranth. I don't remember if Muffa was with us then. Lieutenant Luftwaffe that is in the chat is the old Amaranth merch guy and now Cyhra's merch guy. I love him to death. But we were playing and my pants split right in the middle. So the guitar tech had to come out and tape me with gaff tape. And it was like constantly like falling off. So I was playing a whole show showing my balls. That was a weird thing that happened to me. Yeah, I think that was one of the weirdest things actually. I haven't. I wear basketball shorts on stage also because I'm a bigger boned. No, definitely not. I'm just saying I'm a hefty dude. So I wear the basketball shorts and it hasn't split, but it has fallen off. And you're not that as hefty as you think.
Maybe, but the wireless pack went in there, and after a couple of jumps, it just said hello to everyone. So
you got a wireless pack. Mine is attached. How do you get the wireless one?
I mean, listen, we live in Dubai. They're allowed. That's the way we do it. That's the way we do it out here. We have another question from.
Hey, can I borrow your balls? Yeah, sure. They're wireless.
Things out here are different in the Middle East, Jake. Things are different here.
It's pretty hot. I understand.
Sometimes you just need to leave them aside, cool off for a bit, and then bring them back. T Muju says, Jake, if you have to cover some song from a Finnish band, what would it be and why? From Finn band. Jake, if you have to cover some song from Finn band, what would it be and why? Do you mean Finnish? Is that the question?
Maybe Finland. Mm-hmm. If it's Finland, I would probably go with what are they called? Sentenced.
Sentenced.
Yeah, great band.
Awesome. That's a good. Well, hopefully that was a question because it was a little weird. And
hopefully that was a question. Maybe. Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was, but Gorillas in the Mist has asked this already. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 6th time. What is Jake's all-time favorite song?
How long is a rope? It's impossible to answer that question, to be honest.
Does it change for you? Is it something that, like, depending on the mood and stuff, you can be focused on the song more than something else?
To begin with, I told you in the beginning of the pod that I rarely listens to music anymore. Extremely, like, the only music I listen to is my own and our bands on Guilty Gorilla. And sometimes when the kids are playing Daddy Shark at home. But
that song stuck in my head more than any other song in the world, I think.
But my favorite album of all time is Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 is equally good. It's so hard to have a favorite song. Like, it depends on the mood. Like, if I hear that song today, I would say this is my favorite song, and another day it would be another song. So yeah, I can't answer that question, sorry. Raid.
We got another raid. What's going on, everybody? Welcome Miss Rose. How's it going? Welcome to the party, you guys. Who was that? Lingo 213. Thank you for the raid. Derpy, can we get a huge shout out for Lingo, our homie from Doha, Qatar, all the way from Doha, Qatar. Yeah, we have to say it with the Qatar.
In Swedish that means you have cats.
Really? Doha, Qatar means do you have cats?
Yeah, du har katter in Swedish.
Welcome all the way from Do You Have Cats?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Now I learned something. What does it mean?
Doha is the city, and Qatar is the country. It's one of the smallest. I'm not in the world, but a very small country.
I know Qatar, but how you said it, Doha Qatar.
I mean that doesn't. I don't think that means anything. I don't know if it. Lingo doesn't mean anything.
You got cats.
Yeah. Well, Derpy just went ahead and said, "You got pussy." That's what she put in the chat. Thanks, thanks, Derpy. No. Thanks, thank you for that. That just completely went all out there. Yeah, dude. Thank you again for the raid. But speaking of Qatar, speaking of the Middle East, have you ever been to our little region, this side of the world?
Woo! Woo! I want to do my own. I'm gonna record this. Woo! Why do you have all those things?
It's crazy. No, see, listen, you're a musician. You're an artist. Wow. You can play guitar. You can play the piano and sing on stream. I scream in a band, so I have to have these things that they're allowed to do. The chat controls everything.
No.
Thank you.
She wasn't
Thank you guys.
ready.
Thank you guys for playing absolutely everything at the same time.
Okay, so they can control your lighting with emojis or whatever it's called.
Yeah, exactly. They control the lighting. They can control the camera. We've turned a lot of things off.
Do you have one of these buzzers too?
Yeah, we actually do. They're allowed to buzz me and word ban me. They can say start a word ban, and if I say it, I have to spin the wheel of death. It's chaos here.
What is this other side called where people found people? What's it called? The other site that is very hugely popular nowadays when you're famous and naked pictures and whatever.
Naked picture. Oh, God damn it, you guys! We were OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. So on your OnlyFans, you have another kind of buzzer that people could send emojis to. Yes. I guess.
Yeah, we actually do have an account, but we did it on onlyfan.com. We only have the one fan. It's Belfagor. He's our only fan. He gets exclusive access. We have a camera under the desk while we stream that he gets to control throughout.
Are you moist?
And when he pressed that button, it says "Du har katter."
It says See, it comes full circle. This is it's all intentional, you guys. Everything is intentional. But yeah, have you been to this side of the world? Have you been to the Middle East? Have you visited the heat-stricken deserts?
No, I've never. I've been to the continent of Africa, but I've never been to the Middle East, unfortunately. I'm missing out on Australia, South America, the Middle East as that part, and China. Those parts are the only places I've never been so far. But I've got like 40 more years to figure that out. So, I heard something about there was one booker in here. You could book me to come to Qatar.
yeah, or to Dubai. Don't go to Lars. You can't do the sexy wink now. Lars, we're in a podcast. We have a redeem called a sexy wink. We can't do it now, Lars. We're being professional here. But thank you.
Is Lars your alter ego that you're talking to?
Lars is a separate account that I have on my phone that I just text myself with. But Lars is also someone that I've been able to hang out because of Twitch. You guys stop redeeming sexy wings. It makes the lights go pink. Met through Julian and through Twitch and through Discord and all that stuff. And we talked a little bit about our affinity for booze, for alcohol, and I heard that you were outside of all of this world. You like collecting some nice whiskeys.
How the fuck do you know all this shit?
I do my research. That's how we do it.
You're a great researcher. You should be a journalist, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am. Here's the funny part of that. That is that I am collecting expensive Japanese whiskeys, right? The only thing is that it's only expensive here where I live. Because when I go to Japan, it's cheap as fuck.
So it's more of an import tax collection than it is the
no
fine.
No one has never checked my bags, but I usually do like this. I have a lot of bags because I always buy an extra bag when I go to Japan, and I fill that with whiskey, and then I check it in, like make sure that nothing will break, and I bring it home. Japanese whiskeys are fantastic for a guy like me that they're really soft, and I rarely drink, so they last for a very long time, and it's a great gift for I've been probably giving away half of my collection that I've collected so far to people on birthdays and weddings and stuff like that. But it's also like the aesthetic with Japanese stuff. They're so good at making things look good.
Yeah, absolutely. And their visuals, like everything from a label to the typography they use, everything is always very unique. You can't find it anywhere else.
No, exactly. But here's the thing with like the thing we were talking about, like expensive, right? So I went to a 7-Eleven, but a Japanese kind of 7-Eleven, but somewhat of a shop, and I bought a whiskey, and it cost me approximately €4, I think. And it didn't look much to the world, so I bought like one or two because I just thought that it looked great. And then I went home, and then I checked how much that one would be if you ordered it in Sweden. Like if you would go, like here in Sweden, we have like specific stores. You could not buy booze at a regular store. You have to go to the booze store, and it would be €7. I was like, why didn't I buy more?
Yeah, we have the same issue here, and it's one of the reasons. And the chat always gives me shit for this that I drink.
Sand is pretty cheap where you live, right?
Sand is readily available, but I drink Jim Beam. The American bourbon, and everyone because I introduced myself as I drink whiskey too, and they didn't hold back. Let's just say they didn't hold back telling me how they feel about Jim Beam and calling it whiskey.
I was just gonna say that you were talking about whiskey, and then Jim Beam were coming up in the discussion. I didn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a bourbon, but we don't have a lot of options here, guys. But over here, it's legal. You can purchase alcohol and all that stuff. You have to have a license to buy it to be able to go into the
like
store.
Like James Bond, license to kill. You have a license to Jim Beam.
Yeah, license to drink. Yeah, exactly. And in a lot of the Middle East, it is readily available in supermarkets and stuff. Like in Jordan, Lebanon, it's just very normal. It's like Europe. But over here in the Gulf, in Doha, and Doha, Qatar, and Dubai, you have to have a license, and you have to. It's only a certain limit that you can buy a month, and it gets kind of crazy. Yeah, it gets kind of crazy.
But I guess that I'm sorry for getting like making this a political thing that is a joke. But I guess that you have a lot of friends that are not drinking, so they could buy to you or for you.
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, if you're a Muslim, if you have Muslim on the passport or on the ID, which they do have in this part of the world, you can't get a license.
Okay, how hard, but going back to religion again, because this is something that is extremely interesting for someone like me, makes me think of 1945 and Germany once again. Like, you have a specific stamp in your passport showing what kind of religion you are, which I think is really weird. But let's leave that and go over to the next thing. How hard is it to get rid of that thing in your passport?
I don't think you can. It's very, very difficult to get rid of any of that stuff. I'm fortunate enough to have. Professor Fi resubscribed. Thank you, Professor Fi. I'm fortunate enough to have an Australian passport. We grew up in Sydney. I don't look or sound Australian. That's why I don't introduce myself as. But that's one of the reasons why I don't. That's not an issue for me.
Your English is, by the way, way better than any Australian I've ever talked to.
I've Americanized it a little bit over the years, but but yeah, that's one of the reasons it happens. But other than that, you outside of like going to the next state, which is a state over, to buy a booze without having the license thing, driving an hour from Dubai, basically, you can't get rid of that. It's just the way it is. You can't get the license. You can't go to a liquor store inside the city.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty crazy when you think about it, right?
It is. It is really crazy. It's so crazy that I can't really believe that it's 2021 anymore. I think it's like 18 or 1712. Yeah, we there are a couple of things in the Middle East that are definitely behind, and we know that as especially the community that the circles that we hang out with, the creatives, the actors, the musicians, the bands, and all that stuff. But that's why people like the guy I shouted out earlier, Mu'tasim from Middle East Records, who's bringing bands over from all over the world, and pushing for that narrative where it went from like, metal is satanic and not allowed here to no, this is something that's normal, to it's actually being promoted and pushed. And he got, massive posters up on the side of the biggest mall in the world for death metal bands that he's bringing to the country. So
we're slowly working at chipping away all of those kind of societal things that we've had. But like we said earlier, it's much harder unlearning than it is learning from scratch. So it's been an uphill battle.
Yeah, but here's the thing as well. There would never be a change unless the region like yours would benefit from it, from foreign investments and money coming in from tourism, right?
Yeah, specifically the UAE as well. It's very tourist based, very tourist heavy.
Weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I usually sometimes think that I should never go there because I do not support the way that things are handled down there. But now when you said it, it's actually a smart thing to go there to try to make a change instead. Yeah.
And I've had this conversation. I mean, the fucking Black Sabbath played Abu Dhabi a few years ago on one of their final tour, I think. And the posters, Black Sabbath, were plastered all around the country, but the crosses were blurred out. It's just little things like that. Like we're slowly making progress, but there's still things that need to be changed. You know what I mean? It's just it's. And for someone like myself and a lot of my peers and a lot of people in the community, it's the reason we kind of go above and beyond to promote the art side of the Middle East, because, like you said, there's a lot of the news isn't filled with Middle Eastern rock bands. That's for sure. But we do have a lot here, and we do have a lot of people fighting for their voice and stuff like that.
It's so weird to hear, sometimes you're so secluded in your own little bubble up here. You think that everyone has it as good as you have it, but then you realize that the world looks different anywhere you go. I mean, like, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it is. But that's kind of why this whole show started. Like I said, the pandemic, and I have a lot of people around me that are in very interesting positions that are creative people that have made it, or creative people that are helping people, or arts, and I kind of wanted to make it a platform where we bridge that gap. Yeah. Like now, and Jake E from Cyhra is on a Middle Eastern podcast. And Mohsen from Middle East Records is in the chat, and we're going to talk to you guys about maybe we can have Cyhra come on, pass by Dubai at some point, and make that a reality. And things, these little things that happen like that, where a musician has met a promoter that has met someone in this channel or on our Discord, and things have happened from that, is like my ultimate dream. That's the thing that keeps me going for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I got a question, by the way, from Ryan down there, which is a country that I've never played in, that I wanted to play in. And I've never been to Australia. I would love to play Sydney, but I also would love to play in South America. I played Mexico City, but I don't consider that to be South America. I would call that, something else. I'm talking about like Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's those two are on my list as well. I've been somewhere not a lot of people have. Cuba, not the best place to play a show, but I was there for film production. I was doing on-site editing for a documentary there. And
nice.
And I want to dive deeper into South America for sure. I want to dive deeper into that whole world. And visit as many countries in that region as possible. It's one of my favorite places to be.
I played on a boat outside Cuba once. Does that count?
Yeah, it counts. It counts. That's as close as you can get. It counts, absolutely. Chat, if you have any questions left, and Ryan, I just want to say that Ryan that just asked that last question, dude. Thank you so much for joining Patreon. That absolutely means a lot to us. And join the Discord, share your music, let us know what you got going on, and that kind of shit is the reason we're able to do this show. Without that stuff, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be editing in Cuba if it wasn't for Patreon. So thank you so much. That genuinely means the world to us. And you have all the privileges. You get the Patreon chat over on Discord. So hook that up. And yeah, thank you, man. But if you have any questions, guys, drop them in the chat right now in the ask a question box. Because I like to wind down with this one question, and I'm curious what Jake's answer would be. So we normally end with this question. If you had a time machine, now that we've gone through the journey, we've seen the different parts of your journey, and kind of all the way up to right now. If you had a time machine, you were going back to Jake, even before taking hockey seriously, and you were to tell Jake, young Jake, something from the future, what would that be?
I already know the answer to that question, because I've already asked myself, like, what would I do if I would come to that point? And that would be, it depends on how old I would be when I go back in time to talk to myself, obviously. But that would be that nothing is impossible, and never doubt yourself, because that was one thing that I was doing during my childhood. Never doubt yourself. You can become whatever you want to, and follow whatever dream you have, and just believe in yourself. That would be the key words that I would tell myself.
Are there any standout moments where you feel like you did doubt yourself along the path that you wish, but not saying like in a regretful manner, but looking back, you were like, right now that I know what I know, I wouldn't have done that?
No, nothing. There's nothing that I've done that I regret in any way. Like everything that I've done. There has been a purpose, like that I choose to do stuff, even if it was good or bad. But why I would say this to myself is because that it took so many years for me to like realize that anything was possible. Like if I would have had someone telling me that in an early age, I would be somewhere else today, or I would have come to where I am earlier than, I would have believed in myself in another way, I think, because that has been my biggest problem growing up, not having enough confidence in myself. Yeah.
And hopefully that resonates with you guys as well. I mean, I definitely have had that, and I think you can once you unlock that, like Jake was saying, it's like there's this. Have you ever seen that movie Limitless? That when he takes a pill and he could do whatever the fuck he wants. It's one of those things.
It's a fantastic movie, and the TV show that came after that movie was also actually pretty good until it just repeated itself over and over and over again.
I haven't seen the TV show yet. But,
if you haven't seen the TV show, you should see that, because it's the first couple of like 5-6 episodes are fantastic.
McDab is asking if you want to see the sexy wink. You guys, I don't think we have time for a sexy wink. You guys, you can't do the sexy wink at the end of the podcast. It's over.
I want to see the sexy wink.
Well, before we do the show is directly linked to the movie from Lingo. Okay, cool. We'll check that out. All right. Well, you guys want the sexy wink? Okay, Derpy, can you turn the lights pink, please? We can't do the sexy wink with the blue lights. Can you turn the lights pink? And I'll give you guys the sexy wink. No more big babe. All right. Thank you, Derps. Here's a sexy wink. Woo! And that's the sexy wink. And that's the sexy wink. It has a little
Am I the only one in here that the only thing that I was thinking about, like, how did you do that with a camera movement? Like, how did you program that?
I told you I jumped into OBS. I became an OBS nerd, so I even have a faster one for if you say something a little shocking, I can just be in shock in Zoom. The record scratch, we have a record scratch. We even have if you want to summon the inner James Hetfield to show how good something is, you can ooh. He can say ooh yeah for you. There's a bunch of different things.
Fantastic.
Thank you. But dude, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and having this conversation and going down the journey that is Jake E's path up until now, up until Cyhra and everything that's about to happen. It's only fair to ask what's up next? What's going on next? What's happening? Where are we going to find you guys now that everything is opening back up?
Yeah, please. Can't you please tell me that, because I have no idea. No, we have a couple of shows and actually like a lot of tours and stuff coming up. We're planning to go on tour with our Swedish colleagues Twilight Force in October, November, somewhere around that. We're doing 2 festivals in Finland in August, but right now I don't know if any of those are gonna happen. We're gonna rebook our shows in Japan. We're gonna try to like get back the US tour that we lost, another European tour, trying to make another album maybe for 2022. What we decided to do was not to write anything during the COVID and instead try to ride on the No Halos in Hell album for another cycle, because I think that album deserves to have some more shows to play on before we bury that and do another album.
Absolutely. I agree, because I don't know if I told you this before, but Svengali released the album March 13th, 2020, the day the world went into lockdown. So we were discussing something similar, like do we just start writing again, or do we wait and get to play some shows with this one? And we decided that it'll be a shame if they just stay songs that we don't get to perform as much and actually push the album. So.
Yeah, but exactly. But the only ones that the songs are old for is you, right? Because there's still so many fans out there that has still not discovered your music or my music or so on. So the potential to find new fans are still out there. So I think it's stupid to just release music because you can. Obviously, if you have all the time and you have nothing else to do and write songs, well, then it's an opportunity, obviously. But for me, I decided that no. And I did not decide that by myself. I had a discussion with the band, obviously, but we came to the conclusion that we want to tour more on the No Halos in Hell and make another like real tour before we do another album.
Absolutely. And like we said, guys, all the links to everything Jake and Cyhra will be over on Discord. And we have one very last question to ask you before we do our traditional hit the outro. What did the gorilla do? What's the gorilla guilty of?
What is he guilty of? Is it even a he? Can you tell that?
Is it even a he? Let's get the gorilla back on here.
Maybe it's a she gorilla.
What is the gorilla guilty of?
Okay. So there was this band Svengali. The gorilla offered the band like a 60-40 deal.
Yeah, but they were from the Middle East and making music on Mac, so it didn't.
Yeah, but they were also like they were oil shakes, all of them. So like 60-40 was pretty fair.
Oh man, this has been fucking fun, dude. Thank you for the hangout. It's the time flew. We've been on for 2 hours 45 minutes, and I feel like we barely scratched the surface. So maybe in the future when things open up and you guys have the shows, we could do a little part 2 and see how things are going.
That would be fantastic.
The roads.
That would be fantastic. I loved every moment of this, and this is probably the longest interview in my whole life. So yeah, thank you very much.
Dude, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming out. Thank you, guys, each and every single one of you that has been in the chat, that asked the questions, that has been hitting follow and subscribing and throwing the biddies. I saw Rudy. I didn't miss anything. I was just deep in conversation. Rudy throwing some biddies over there. Professor Fi subscribed again. Robert for jumping on Patreon. Sorry, Ryan for jumping on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. And we have a tradition around here, Jake, that the guest has to officially announce the end of the podcast by saying the words "hit the outro" in any fashion you'd like. So whenever you are ready, in whatever way you want, let us know that the show's over. Say the words "hit the outro."
Sorry, I have to go. So hit the outro.
Let